Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to introduce you to the LucidSpark whiteboards in case you haven't used them before. We used to use Jamboard for this class, but Jamboards are going away, I think, in a month. So we had to kind of find a different platform. And LucidSpark, I kind of scoured the internet, and this one is very, very close to how Jamboards worked. And I was a huge fan of Jamboard, so hopefully you guys will like it. So there's detailed instructions as far as step by step on how to sign up for Lucid and kind of how to do every single thing within LucidSpark. But I just want to demo just a few things, how to create sticky notes and things like that, so you can get a feel for what you can do with the program. So once you log in, you should be brought to a page, kind of a main dashboard that looks like this. And if you want to create a new whiteboard, you will click on this new button here. And then you want to click on LucidSpark, which is the virtual whiteboarding. And you're going to have two options, either starting from a blank board or create from a template. I admit I'm new to this program, so I'm not super familiar with all the templates, but if you guys want to try using templates to kind of map out the content that you need to know for pharmacology based on your study guides, go for it. I typically would start from a blank board. That's what I'm used to with Jamboard. So maybe until you're more comfortable with templates, start with blank board, but I'll leave that up to you. So if you clicked on a blank board, I have one that I just kind of started. I was goofing around. So let me show you. Once you start a new board, I think the first thing that would make sense to do is just retitle it. So you can either label them by modules, or you can use the actual content for that week, like foundational concepts, however you guys want to label it, as long as the right content is on there, that's fine by me. And that's something that I want to stress with you guys is this is not meant to be busy work. This is actually meant to help you study as you go throughout the semester by creating a visual study guide, based on, we tell you what drugs and concepts you need to know on the study guides, and you can use this platform to kind of map out these concepts, write down what you think are the most important things to need to know, and that way when it comes time to study, you will have sort of forced yourself to study already by doing these weekly assignments, but hopefully you will have also retained and understood the content a lot better. So take some time with these. Don't turn in garbage, because it's not going to help you be successful in the exams. It's not going to help you actually know the medicines for when you get to clinicals. So please treat this as an opportunity to study and learn as you go. Okay, so after you name it, it's essentially blank. So all this stuff I just added. So it'll kind of just look like this, and you can choose your own adventure. So the format that I've typically seen the most is using sticky notes for the most part, and then adding in other shapes and arrows and text boxes to kind of write around the sticky notes. You can add pictures either in the background or off to the sides, but kind of outlining each either concept or each drug. Usually it'll be like one sticky note for the name of the drug, and then one sticky note for mechanism of action, and then another sticky note for adverse effects. And you can line them up however you like, however makes sense to you. I've seen a lot of different variations across students across the last few years that we've been doing this. We want it to be helpful for you, so that's why we kind of leave it completely up to you. But very basic, you have this toolbar over here, and navigation is just with a trackpad, or with a mouse. You can zoom in and out, using your fingers, or there's an actual toggle down here. If you want to add a text box, it's this little T here, and you just kind of click where you want it and type whatever you want. If you want to add a sticky note, you'll click this guy here, and you can choose from a variety of different colors. So what color don't we have yet? We don't have like a blue. So let's do an aqua, and then you just kind of highlight where you want to add your sticky note, and it'll appear. And if you just click inside of it, a cursor will start blinking, and you can start typing inside of it. And what I think is really nice about this over how Jamboard was is you can resize, and it'll automatically resize your font to fit within that sticky note. And something that I think is absolutely beautiful about LucidSpark compared to Jamboard is you have unlimited space. So you don't have to have like pages upon pages. It can all be on one main page that you can study from, so you don't have to keep clicking across different pages. You can also add, various shapes. There's rectangles, ovals, circles. There's lines you can add. You can make kind of circles with your lines. And then what I think is really cool is how easy it is to add visuals. So you can add images, which are actually still pictures which is how I got this guy. So say you want to add a new picture, you just kind of search for what you want. Let's say we want to find a picture of a syringe, and it'll search for you, and you can pick, whatever one speaks to you. I kind of like this one. It looks cool. Drag it to where you want it, and again, you can, resize to your heart's content. But what's really neat, I think, is you can also add GIFs, you can add emojis, icons. The only thing I will say with GIFs and emojis, just make sure it's like appropriate, no cursing, nothing super crass. But if it's funny and about pharmacology, I'm all for it. We really want you guys to be creative and, again, for it to be useful for you. So find images that will help you help the concept stick in your mind better. You can also highlight if that's helpful for you. And what's I think really cool too is you don't necessarily always have to be clicking over here in the toolbar. For example, once you have a sticky note out here, if you want to make another one, you can just use your normal keyboard shortcuts like Control C and Control V and paste it somewhere else. And then there's a way to change the color directly from here. So it's once you kind of get the used to how things move and how to make things appear, and you start filling it in, I think you're gonna really get the hang of it quickly. One thing I want to show you before I show you just some examples of what Jamboards and other whiteboards have looked like from past semesters, I just want to highlight how you share your board with your professor, because it's really important for us to be able to have access to this. So there's a couple ways you can do it. I think the easiest way is to click on this little paper clip, and it says copy share link. If you click on that, it'll tell you that you just copied the link, and you can just plop that link right into Canvas. Or if you are back on your main dashboard, you can also just hover over a board and the paperclip will show from here too, and you can copy it from there. So I think that's the easiest. And then again, just put it in Canvas each week so your professors have easy access. So now let me just show you a couple examples of what past boards have looked like. These are Jamboards, so they'll look a little different, but it's the same exact premise. So this is a Jamboard from one of the early weeks where it's just about the nursing process. And this student chose to use a lot of sticky notes. She color-coded them in a scheme that made sense for her. She kind of used this like circle image in the background. And then one thing I forgot to mention, but I know I mentioned it in the instructions on Canvas, is make sure that you are providing sources that you got your information from. You can put them all on one source or on one sticky note if that's easiest for you. Typically, we want you to use the sources that we provide you in class. So your book, our PowerPoints, ATI, those are good places to cite. But make sure there's always a sticky note for your sources. So this is one example of a board diagramming the nursing process. This is one that is more drug-based, which after week 2 is what you guys are going to be doing. So they decided to break it up by each color is a certain class. So this is the cancer module. It's a little different because you don't need to know quite as much detail about the drugs compared to the other modules, but they broke it down by nitrogen mustards, anthracyclines, the vinca alkaloids, and so on. And then this row was the mechanism of action, and then the side effects were here. And then they pulled in, I think, some really nice visuals to kind of talk about how cancer works from a biological standpoint. And then the references are down here. And then one more. I wanted to show this one because this student didn't like sticky notes. And I remember this student, they emailed me, they're like, oh my God, I'm trying to use this Jamboard and I hate sticky notes, they're annoying. I prefer text when I'm studying. Is it okay that I use more text than sticky notes? And I said, sure. As long as you pull in some sort of visual that helps you organize the information and that it's not just an entire page of text, that's fine. That's, again, why we're not telling you exactly how to do it, because you want it to be useful for you. So this student was very much kind of an outliner and using numbers, but they used color coding in their text. They used highlighting, and they brought in pictures to kind of help them organize this material. This is 2 diabetes oral medications. So and they broke it down by all the things that we told you to outline. So what's the med called? How does it work? What's it used for? How do you give it? What are the contraindications and adverse effects? What are the important nursing interventions and education? And then how do you know that med is working? So once you kind of get into a rhythm with this, I think it'll be easy. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and it'll be something that you can. The nice thing is, I think that these are always going to be saved for you on LucidSpark, so you can always reference them when you're studying for advanced pharm or if you're studying for boards. They are kind of yours to use indefinitely. So hopefully you will find this assignment helpful. But definitely let your professors know if you have any questions, especially when you're first starting to use it. And don't forget to cite the content that you're using on a sticky note and share that link with your professors so we can grade it. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, and you guys have a good rest of your day. All right, bye.